Well, John, you've had another full week of training. What have you been able to do in that time?
Yeah, I take a bit of stock after the game at the weekend. That was the first thing that we did, and then back at it on the training pitch, trying to work on a few things that we're going to try and implement. A few of the bits that we've learned off the back of Saturday's results, and just another week to again work on quite a bit of the things that we've missed out on, particularly with that big run of games over those 3 weeks. So yeah, really good to be out on the training pitch, and ever since we've been back in, it's been full focus on preparation for Forest Green.
What specific key areas do you need to improve on after Saturday, perhaps?
I think there's quite a few. We weren't particularly pleased with the first half performance in particular on Saturday, and there were a couple of defensive errors that we've worked on the detail of how we're going to cut those out, and what we didn't like, particularly with the first goal. And then also I think we're not quite patient enough with the ball at times, and there were just quite a few things that we were really sloppy with on Saturday that ultimately cost us in terms of the 3 points and not being able to win the game. So yeah, plenty of areas of improvement. There's always going to be, even I think when we win games, we come away from it thinking that there's plenty of work to do on the training pitch.
Forest Green coming into the game on the back of a good result last Sunday. What sort of challenge are you expecting this Saturday?
Well, I think we should expect a challenge, worthy of a side who've just beaten. They're not league leaders now, but a side who were right up there, and obviously came to Fratton Park and won the game. And Forest Green, I thought, were well worth their victory on Sunday afternoon. Having won the game, I think they looked pretty comfortable. They defended really well. They were good value for the win. So I think we should expect that sort of team, one that are scrapping for their lives. Clearly, they've probably been a bit unlucky in terms of the run that they've been on, not managing to win a game up until Sunday. So. A side full of confidence coming here again to probably win the game. So we've got to face that, and we've got to make sure we're ready for the challenge.
Dane and Joe have impressed for their respective countries on the international break. When will they be available for selection again?
Yeah, they'll both be available this weekend.
Brilliant. And Clark Robertson, we obviously saw him return for the 45 minutes. How impressed were you by him, and how much does it mean to sort of have that leadership back in the side?
Yeah, I mean, Clark's been brilliant since the moment I set foot in the building. Even though he was injured on a relatively long-term one, he's been a great character to have around the place. Clearly, he's club captain, and he was sorely missed, I think, in the change room day to day in terms of what he brings on the training pitch and what he brings on match day. So it was really, really good to have him back. I thought he performed really well over 45 minutes under tough circumstances against a front two who really had the bit between their teeth in the first half. And again, when Taylor and Harrison came off, they brought Proctor and Wilson on to experienced centre forwards at this level, and I thought Clark dealt with all four of them really well. So really pleasing to have him back, and looking to see a lot more of him on the pitch in the near future. That's
one player you've had recently return from injury. Are there any other concerns for you?
No new concerns. Just everything as usual since the weekend. So yeah, everything's just ticking over nicely.
And just on the Pompey fans, obviously another home game, second consecutive one on a weekend. Their support has been nothing short of sensational recently. What's your message to them ahead of the Forest Green game?
Yeah, more of the same really, and just to stick with us. I know sometimes there was a bit of frustration in the first half, especially on Saturday, but I think if you look at the turnaround by the end of the game and how I think pleased the fans were that the lads at least came out in the second half and had a go and got back into the game, that's the minimum that they expect, and they showed that with the levels of the support that they showed throughout the whole 90 minutes. So the message is, you make a huge difference, as I've always said, and stick with us. Sometimes things won't go 100% to plan, but stick with us. We're making sure that we're putting every effort in to get the results and get the performances that everybody at Fratton Park wants to see.
Yeah, just on that, you were a player yourself quite recently. How much of a difference does it make having those fans behind you, especially in a moment where things aren't going your way, we get that goal back and things just go up a level?
Yeah, it's probably no coincidence again that we scored a couple going towards the Fratton end, and as soon as we got that goal, the momentum completely shifted. The entire game just sort of flipped on its head, and then 4 minutes later we got the equaliser. The only disappointing thing, I think, from our point of view is that we didn't manage to capitalise on the atmosphere at the time and go and get the third, the fourth, and go and win the game. But yeah, not for lack of enthusiasm from the fans. They were brilliant. It was really great to have them behind us, and when that second goal went in, there was just that roar again that we heard, and the sort of jubilation from all the home fans. It's just impossible for me to overstate how important that is, not just from the Portsmouth side, but also how difficult it is to play in those circumstances when you're an away player. And I've spoken to players that have come off the pitch in the last sort of 6, 7, 8 weeks when I've been here at Fratton Park, and they say it's a really difficult place to play because of the atmosphere that the fans actually end up generating. And I know that as a player myself, I've been there, and it's been really difficult. So from both sides, it's a massive boost for us at home.